Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Matt's come with me. No. When do we start?
Welcome back. I've got 99 episodes, and the show is one.
I don't know.
Do you want more or less rap? I can keep
No, I
going.
like it. I'm all about the Jay-Z. The Jay-Zizzle for shizzle.
It's a hard knock life
For us.
for me.
It is. I got 99 episodes, and this is one. Yeah, that would be an accurate statement.
Yeah, thanks.
We have 99 episodes.
You have 97.
Good point. I was away for 2. Damn, that's a good point. So we have to
you can't do the rap.
So we have to delay the actual 100th for a while.
Wait until we get to 102.
Yeah, because that would be my 100th episode.
Yeah.
100 episodes together. It's a team endeavor.
98% of the time.
Well, whatever. But you know what? I promise you 5 good minutes every week.
Yeah, except for some of the weeks. Except for those low energy weeks. But hey.
Well, there I give you more than just 5 minutes on those weeks. I've given more than 80%.
Maybe I should do that. Tally up how much time has gone into the...
No, you don't want to do that. You just be depressed how much you've put into this and how little monetary gain you've acquired because of it.
And that's edited downtime.
It is edited downtime.
That's the clean time.
Remember back when we used to do the After Dark episodes?
I only made one of those. It was like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I started a second file.
Did you really?
Yeah, I just haven't really touched it in a while.
Well, maybe it's almost time.
Speaking of 100 episodes coming up, 1 week left to email in for our extended letters section. And then also after that, because I realized like all the stuff we have right now is all for the 100th. And after that, I'm like, oh God, we're doing okay for the 100th. But after that, I'm like,
there's not much to go after that, really.
Yeah, because that's what people
it's
are writing in for.
It's all downhill from there.
So yeah, if you want to write in, guaranteed we'll talk about it on the 100th for our extended letters section.
Are we going to have a big cake? Like when shows hit their 100th episode, they have a cake and there's a cake cutting ceremony at the end of the...
I don't like cake.
Are we going to have like a
steak.
A steak with some candles in it?
We can have a steak.
Can we have the steak and consume it during the 100th show?
No one wants to hear eating. Do you want to do a Jared sports reports?
I really don't have anything to report.
It's the Olympics, so you don't have anything to report?
Oh, the Olympics, yeah. Right now, they're snowboarding in the half pipe. We saw somebody break themselves moments before we came on. Shaun White poised to win another gold medal. Maybe we'll know by the end of this episode. Maybe we won't.
I feel like he would. No, he's got this.
I think he does.
He's got this in the bag.
What else exciting?
Does he need to do those other 2 runs?
Well, if he gets past in points, yeah, he kind of does.
No one else was doing what he was doing.
No, that was pretty incredible stuff. Let's see. What other good sports reports are there? Oh, spring training is underway. The Boston Red Sox spring training is opening up here shortly. So that's a sign that winter is ending and spring is coming. Daytona 500 this coming weekend. Alex Bowman, replacing Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car, won the pole for the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Denny Hamlin is on the outside of row 1 for that race. Tom Brady's in Costa Rica.
It's not a reports. He's not doing anything. He's just with his supermodel wife.
Yeah, in Costa Rica. Are you with your supermodel wife in Costa Rica?
I have heard rumors of the Spice Girls getting back together.
That is also unconfirmed, but possible. Oh, and I also totally found out today what the lyrics of the Macarena really mean.
They have a meaning?
Yeah, apparently this Macarena girl...
I really hate the Macarena.
It's well, you're going to hate her even more.
I've hated it for a long time.
There's a line about a conscript. So her husband or boyfriend or whatever, her mate is either like enlisting or being made to enlist in the military. So what does she do to celebrate? Sleeps with 2 of his best friends. That Macarena.
Actually makes the song more enjoyable.
Does it really?
Well, at least something's happening in it.
Fair. Reasonable.
Which part is that? Is that in the Hey or the Macarena?
Hoy!
Because there's not much of the way of lyrics of that song.
No, there isn't. Other sports reports, news.
You had your chance. You said there was nothing.
I mean, the Olympics are fun. The real meaty Olympic stuff hasn't really started to happen yet, though. I like watching the curling. I haven't really watched any of the figure skating.
I've seen a good chunk of that.
The figure skating?
Yeah.
It does kind of fascinate me, but it's hard to stay engaged with it for a long time.
Well, it's kind of nice for me right now because my wife's just watching everything, and usually if she's watching a sitcom or something, I'll just read, and I have trouble reading when there's something else with dialogue on. I end up getting distracted with the Olympics. I've been cruising through some books.
Good for you.
but good reading time. I can block that out easier and pick up my head when something exciting happens.
Like when everyone went, oh, and you looked up and you're like, ow.
Oh, yeah, that guy who just...
I also thought it was really, really cute that your wife, because you snowboard, and as she's watching the snowboarding, you go, can you do that, Zach?
Yeah, always. Sean White ain't got nothing on me.
Can Zach do that?
Let's do the news.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
What a weird news week. It's up, it's down, it's all over the place. Let's start off with a rumor or something that's supposedly in talks.
I feel like those are both the same thing. A rumor and supposedly in talks.
Yeah.
I feel like you've just got super
Look, I
redundant.
just don't want it to be real.
Okay, does it have to do with Justice League?
No.
Does it have to do with a DC movie?
Yes.
Does it have to do with Batgirl?
Let's stop this guessing game.
Okay.
If we want to make these movies worse than they already are, where do we go? Michael Bay, baby.
Oh, no! Why?
He is supposedly in talks to direct a Lobo movie. Who is Lobo, you ask?
Yeah, who is Lobo?
He's Space Wolverine on a motorcycle and an assassin, and he says the main man a lot, referring to himself as the main man.
My man.
No, the main man
My main man.
is himself.
He's looking out for number one.
Yeah, Lobo's a fine character in small doses. He can be fun. He's just a big, over-the-top... He's a very, 90s-esque character who's still currently being published, but...
Space Wolverine.
Yeah, Space Wolverine on a motorcycle who's an assassin.
Good for him.
But gets really annoying with the main man.
My man.
And he, big over-the-top explosion-y kind of stuff. So I can almost see the reasoning of why you go, you need something over-the-top with explosions. Michael Bay.
Minimal plot, lots of pyrotechnic.
But I think the difference here is the Transformers movies somehow make money. But I think the only reason that they have somehow made money is people have nostalgia and have interest in seeing the Transformers. They're not going in for Michael Bay. Lobo isn't as well known as the Transformers. No one's going out for Lobo.
Maybe they're going to go for knowing they're going to get explosions in a popcorn movie. Maybe that's what the people want.
I kind of feel like that ship has sailed.
Explosive popcorn movies?
Yeah.
Why do you think movies like The Expendables did well? It's an explosion-filled popcorn movie. Machete should have never done well, and it did well. You know why? It's mind-numbing action, adventure, violence. People dig that.
Because Robert Rodriguez can at least put a film together.
He also can do that, yes.
What do we have this summer? Geostorm, which I think was finally the tip of the iceberg. No one went to that.
No.
No one saw Geostorm.
Because everyone's like, oh, look, it's Day After Tomorrow, but, more extreme.
Yeah, it's the same
It's
guy.
a weaponized Day After Tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't even know, I'm even against the idea of doing a Lobo movie. I feel like executives at Warner Brothers went, boy, that Deadpool movie made a lot of money. What do we have like that? Oh, Lobo. What are we going to do? We're going to make him even more extreme.
I don't like it.
I'm against this.
No, thank you.
Every part of this I'm against. That's, your polite version. What do we say to this movie? No, thank you. And also Michael Bay in general. Just, no, thank you. Speaking of movies I don't want to see, but hey, I guess it's still happening. David S. Goyer.
Goiter?
Goyer.
Oh.
Co-writer / writer of many comic book movies. Some good, some bad. I'm convinced that he is basically not super talented, but is elevated by the people around him. Also, says a lot of weird things. He has dropped out of directing the Masters of the Universe movie.
Like He-Man, Masters of the Universe?
Yeah, that'll be the one.
Oh.
Because there's another one of those. Do you?
By the power of Grayskull.
I always hated that show.
You hated all the Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah, someone was selling me a bunch of stuff a couple months ago, and
that style of animation.
Well, they brought in a bunch of He-Man toys, which I didn't end up buying, and the guy's wife was like, "Oh, do you think he even likes this?" He's like, "You can't run a comic book store without liking He-Man." And in my head, I was like,
"Watch me."
Really fucking hate He-Man.
Why do you hate He-Man?
The awkward I just never bought into that style of animation. It was just so awkward.
Did you like Thundercats?
No.
What?
Not even a
What
little.
the hell's wrong with you?
Never liked that stuff.
What else is there in that same vein? Speed Racer?
Oh, God, no.
Well, Speed Racer isn't really that good.
Neither are those other ones.
Oh, come on. He-Man, way better. Better than She-Ra.
Are those not the same thing? Is that one of them a spin-off of the other?
It was. She-Ra was a spin-off of He-Man.
What I know about He-Man is limited.
Come on, Skeletor? He-Man!
You a 1940s gangster or a skeleton monster?
Both.
See?
Oh, no, that's you. No, because Skeletor didn't say see. He's like, He-Man!
It got worse. I don't want to see this movie. The Dolph Lundgren is funny for being truly awful.
I can't believe it. It boggles my mind to this day that you don't like Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Not even a little.
You had a troubled childhood, did you not?
I was a man with standards from day one.
Apparently not.
But yeah, David Esquire is out of this movie. Hopefully it never actually sees the light of day.
You just don't like 80s cartoons.
It's not true.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to list off a few.
Oh, God. All right.
Okay, well, we all know you like DuckTales.
DuckTales is good.
What about the real Ghostbusters?
That's fine. I like it.
Like the real Ghost, like not
I know what you mean.
Go Ghostbusters.
No, I remember the real Ghostbusters.
Not the one that was based on the movie.
Yeah, that was totally different. Yeah, and Egon had blonde hair, yeah.
Ranker has He-Man and the Masters of the Universe ranked number 1.
Don't care. Don't agree with it.
DuckTales is good, though. Inspector Gadget.
Fine, I won't say that I sought it out. It was more, if it's on, I'll watch it.
Garfield and Friends.
Surprisingly liked it.
What do you mean surprisingly? That's good. Muppet Babies. That was good.
Loved Muppet Babies.
Muppet Babies were awesome. Voltron.
Nope.
There was a Beetlejuice cartoon.
There was. It was good.
Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
That's 70s.
No, it was 81, too. How about the Snorks?
No. No, I never saw it, so I have no opinion.
You were probably a Gem or a Rainbow Bright guy, weren't you?
No, never even knew those existed until, 5 years ago.
There was a cartoon apparently called Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. How was I not aware of this?
Me either.
It's about all I have. Oh, Smurfs?
No, did not
Chip and
like
Dale's Rescue Rangers.
it. Did like it.
You did?
Yes.
What about MASH? It was like those cars.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, MASH had a cartoon?
No, not not the... Yeah, that's all I've really come across right now. Tiny Toons? That was not 80s. That was 90s.
I love Tiny Toons.
Tiny Toons is good. What about Ren and Stimpy? That was 80s, 90s.
That's great.
But still. We talked about DuckTales. DuckTales was good. Ninja Turtles is a given. What about the Jetsons?
No.
You weren't a fan of the Jetsons?
No.
What about the X-Men cartoon?
Really good until the 5th season.
Did we say Transformers yet?
No, we didn't, but I did enjoy that show.
You did? Well, it was your ringtone for a while.
Transformers!
Yeah, the one night you got a ton of text messages. I want to get Tailspin. I forgot about Tailspin.
So did I.
Fraggle Rock.
Never saw it.
You never saw Fraggle Rock?
No, totally missed that one.
You're killing me. We could do a whole episode on this, man.
On things I have and haven't seen 20 years ago.
Scooby-Doo? Even though it was earlier than... What?
No, hate Scooby-Doo.
What's wrong? I'm going to leave this show before we ever get to 100. Just a couple more. This is a trip down memory. Did you like... I know it's earlier than the 80s, but Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Loved it.
Good. See, we're finding some common ground. What about the Ghost? It was called Ghostbusters. It wasn't real Ghostbusters. It was like the alternative one.
I know there was a second one. I don't really remember it. I only remember the real Ghostbusters.
Did you like the Gummy Bears?
I don't know what that is.
No, it was a cartoon. Danger Mouse. I forgot about Danger Mouse. That was a good
I
one.
feel like I like Danger Mouse. That one I'm feeling real vague on, though.
Real vague on, obviously. Did you ever like Mighty Mouse?
Yeah, definitely.
Underdog.
Not really.
Not so much Johnny Quest, though, probably.
No.
Rainbow Bright?
Don't know what that one is.
You're sure you don't know what Rainbow Bright is. All right, well, we should do an episode on classic
I
cartoons.
feel like we just did one.
We did.
Things I liked and things I didn't. Getting back to the news. So Masters of the Universe don't care, don't want it.
We're still in the first story of the news, by the way.
Second story. Justice League had a deleted scene released this week that showed the never worn, never seen black suit.
It was seen in an Instagram post.
From The Death of Superman. Yeah, Henry Cavill did do an Instagram post saying, like, hey, the black suit's coming. Guess what? Movie's getting massively reshot. No black suit.
No mustache either.
No. Well, this was pre-mustache, so there's no... You don't have that horrible CG mustache.
Remember
It feels like a weird scene to release, almost to be like, guess what almost happened?
Here, let me recap this for you. Did you see Man of Steel when he walks through the ship the first time? That's exactly what you missed out on.
Yeah.
Air quotes on missed out.
Yeah, and I don't know, it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like, oh yeah, they had a plan, it got massively changed. And I'm not on that side of things of like, the original cut would be better. I don't know. It was probably recut because it was crap.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would release that, though, as a deleted scene. It did nothing. There was no plot to it at all.
I think it's just like, look, the black suit. Henry Cavill looking sad because we don't think he's a good actor and can't trust him with dialogue.
He was fine, and when you give him good dialogue, he's fine. Like, have you ever seen The Count of Monte Cristo?
I can't remember if I've seen a movie adaptation of that now.
Oh. Have you read The Count of Monte Cristo?
Yes.
How was it to read? I've always wanted to read it. I like the story.
It was fun. I mean, I was young when I read it.
Oh.
It's been a while. Easy enough that an elementary school kid could read it.
Fair. Did you read it in the original French?
No. Brief moment of TV news, just because this is a little bit of a weird one, but still kind of exciting. You won't react at all, and that's fine. Just go, ooh, neat. The upcoming Titans show. The show where Dick Grayson has the best butt in the DC universe.
Ooh, neat.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Was I early on that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry.
For the upcoming Warner Brothers streaming service, so it means I'll probably never see the show. But the Doom Patrol will be premiering. It was a weird...
neat.
Yeah, thank you. It was a weird cast of characters. Kind of a deep pull for DC, but hey, great. Do it. Get Doom Patrol on a show.
Bring it. I love it.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's kind of a deep cut, and if you can do that, great, do it. Not a lot to say there. I was just excited to see that. I'm like, ooh, a show that I'm probably not going to see is going to have a neat element.
You're going to find a way to see it so you can see Dick Grayson's butt.
I'm sure they'll, release the pilot or something like what Star Trek did. I'll probably watch that if they go that route. Man, we can't seem to stop talking about Brian Michael Bendis.
He's on the show every week.
I know, we should just have a Bendis segment.
Just call it the Bendis Bender.
Brian Michael Bendis has been hired by Fox Studios, because they're still technically a studio, to work on an X-Men movie currently titled 143 with Tim Miller, a guy who wrote and directed the first Deadpool. Tim Miller doing an X-Men movie sounds familiar. That's because it had already been announced that it's a Kitty Pryde movie, and issue 143 was her first appearance. So they're getting a comic book guy to come work on that movie. I'm all about it. Kitty's one of my favorite X-Men characters.
You do like Kitty Pryde.
I do. It's a good character. And if you can, make her the focal point and kind of build the world around her, she's one that she's gone through enough stuff that you could really put it on any point in time. Like, she comes into the X-Men as a 13-year-old kid.
Are there any, solo Kitty Pryde story arcs, or is she just kind of an intermittent character?
I can't think of a solo title that she's ever had. She's had a couple of, co-starring minis, but I can't think of a solo off the top of my head. But she's been around pretty consistently since late 70s, early 80s.
What was she in that I read recently for the show? Was it something about...
I don't think we've done any X-Men stuff recently.
I feel like there was something about Kitty Pryde. I remember reading about Kitty Pryde, or...
Yeah, I don't remember. But she comes into the X-Men as a 13-year-old girl, kind of, as your new point of view character. And the character's gone so far that she is currently leading the team. There's enough range in there of what she's done and what she's gone through. For a while, she was part of the Guardians of the Galaxy a couple of years ago. One time, she was in a giant bullet shooting through space.
Isn't that like a rocket? Isn't it similar?
It was just a bullet.
Oh, what? That makes no sense.
Maybe we'll do that book one day.
Like a hollow bullet that she just rides through space in?
Well, it was aimed at the Earth, and then she phased it so it went through the Earth and didn't kill us all.
What? Who had this giant world-ending gun?
That was called the Break World.
That's a name that makes sense. That's a big bullet.
It was very big.
And she was apparently somehow got inside of it.
Yeah, she went and phased into it and then phased the whole bullet through the Earth. It was a good time.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kitty
Whatever,
Pryde.
I'm all about it. You could really do a lot with Kitty. And if you're getting Bendis on it, cool. And Tim Miller, I already know that, from the one movie he's done that I think is pretty good. New Avengers promo art came out along with some toys that are bringing back Toilers. Spoilers brought by toys. It's not that big of a spoiler, so I'm just going to mention it.
Are you trying to, coin a phrase?
No, that's out there.
Toilers?
Yes, Toilers.
What the heck? Those are people who work hard. I toiled away in the field. Toilers are people who work hard.
Toy spoilers.
I shake my head at the American society.
The promo art we saw, nothing all that earth-shattering, just looks cool. It's fun seeing all those characters, seeing Spider-Man and some of the Guardians and some of the Avengers, and Thor with 2 eyes.
I see what you did there.
I don't know what I did there.
I was just saying Thor has 2 eyes. I see what he did there. See?
Yeah, no, that didn't work. I'll leave it. Not
Good.
cutting it.
Good.
But yeah, it looks like...
It wasn't meant to be good.
It looks like Thor gets his eye back.
But good on Thor.
It's, going to be good for depth perception if you're in the middle of a fight.
Certainly can't hurt. Although I kind of would have liked to see a badass eye-patched Thor.
Well, he definitely has the eye patch for a chunk of the movie. We see what we've seen in trailers.
Who do you think helps him out get his eye back?
I don't know, Doctor Strange.
Probably. Those magic hands.
We saw this briefly in the very first piece of promotional art that we saw, concept art that was released. We saw Thor and Rocket, and it looks like Thor had a big ol' axe, and everyone presumed that it was Jamberjorn. Probably not pronouncing that right.
No.
But that was his original weapon before he got Mjolnir.
I bet I could look it up and try and pronounce it. It's probably Jormbjorn.
Jamberjorn.
Do you have it written on your page?
No, I don't. I did not write down Jamberjorn.
It's not going to be Jamberjorn. There's no hard j sound in this the...
It opens with a J. What do you want from me?
It's a Jodelheim.
Jamberjorn.
Jamberjorn.
Sounds worse. But what we've seen from a toy and also from a new image, that it looks like it's not actually Jamberjorn.
Jamberjorn.
You don't know.
Jamberjorn sounds like a really bad 80s cartoon that you would have hated and I would have liked.
It looks like he's going to be getting Stormbreaker.
See, that's easier to say.
It is. That's probably why it's Stormbreaker. The hammer of / axe of Beta Ray Bill that was given to Bill by Odin and Walter Simonson's run on the book.
Not to be confused with Betamax Charlie.
No, not a thing.
I just made it.
I know. But yeah, so Thor is getting Stormbreaker. Woo! Interesting comic book series coming out.
Yes?
Speaking of the 90s, do you remember Choose Your Own Adventure?
I love those books.
Well, now you get to do that with Deadpool.
In a comic book
Yeah,
form?
they're going to be doing a...
That's interesting.
They didn't say it was Choose Your... But yeah, it's going to be called You Are Deadpool. And it's basically just Choose Your Own Adventure with Deadpool.
I like it.
Yeah, so do I. I'm like, yeah, that's a fun idea.
It's different. It's new.
I don't know if anyone's done that before, but I'm about it. Go for it. Deadpool seems like the kind of character to do that with.
Break the fourth wall in it.
Yeah, definitely. Have fun with You Are Deadpool. That's coming out, I think, in April. Or maybe later. I don't remember now. Should have written it down. Yeah, let's do 2 other things before we start talking numbers.
Ooh, numbers. I do like numbers.
Well, I got some sad ones.
Oh, no.
One more piece of comic book news. The Hunt for Wolverine. He's back. Or is he? He's definitely around.
You said that he's back.
Yeah, but no one's really seen him yet. Except for that one time he stabbed
You've
a bunch
only
of
heard
people.
about it.
You've seen, like, little snippets of him. Mostly he's stabbed people or just wandered through a town. Basically all he's done so far.
How is that not any different than what he normally does? He kind of shows up, kills, and leaves.
No one knows that he's there yet.
Ah.
Following the one-shot for The Hunt for Wolverine, there are going to be 4 miniseries consisting of 4 issues each, all of different people with kind of different connections to Wolverine trying to find him. I didn't write down the combinations, but I was looking at the rosters of teams. They're kind of random and kind of awesome. Like, my first reaction when I saw the headline, I'm like, oh, what an annoying cash grab. Then I saw, like, the creatives that they had on it and the combos they had. I'm like, okay, I'll read that.
Do you have more, like, do they have cool team names?
Yeah, I didn't write them down. It just would have been too much of a list. I don't want to just list things.
Okay.
I don't want to sit there on my phone listing off 80s cartoons.
You didn't sit there on your phone listing off 80 cartoons. I did that. In all fairness.
Yeah, look it up. I mean, the Hunt for Wolverine stuff is coming. They got good creatives on it. Both artists, writers, and the teams that they're building out look really cool. So I'm all about it. They'll be following up the one shot. And then we got a trailer for a movie that I am unreasonably excited for.
You really are.
I don't know why.
Probably because it combines a lot of your favorite things. Mutant animals, destruction of public property, and epic fights.
And The Rock.
Do you know that he doesn't use the name The Rock anymore? Because if he were, he would have to give a percentage of his money made to the WWE.
Oh, really? No.
Because the WWE has trademarked that.
Yeah, I'm sure they own the character.
They own the character The Rock.
So yeah, Dwayne Johnson, new trailer. It's not his. I guess he's the star of it. But Rampage had
George the albino gorilla.
Rampage had a new trailer, and damn it looks so stupid and over the top.
But you're gonna go see it in theaters.
It looks really fun. It looks so dumb, but I just can't help it. Like, it looks like they're having fun.
Yes.
And let's just put some money on the table right now. The Rock gets giant.
That would be sick.
If it was just The Rock the size of a
building. Could he people's elbow like a building?
Yes.
Give a rock bottom to a skyscraper.
I would put $20 on The Rock gets big in this movie.
I mean, gets big. The man is already ginormous.
You know what I mean.
Mutated big?
Yeah.
Climb up the side of a hill, a mountain, perhaps a skyscraper.
The movie looks so dumb, but damn it looks fun. The wolf flies now like a sugar glider.
That was a hell of a sugar glider. Of course the wolf would fly. Just the thing that I like about The Rock is he will deliver those like over-the-top sensational, like his character saying this over-the-top sensational thing that everyone in the theater is like, this is pushing the very limits of my suspension of disbelief. And his character acknowledges that in the way he delivers that line. Like, Kirby, right now.
Hey, Doug.
Hi. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. Oh, you're a good boy. Good kisses. Thank you. Your dog just gave me a wet willy.
Yeah.
And then licked my face.
Yeah, well, he was licking his crotch right before that.
Well, you're just jealous.
I don't know, man. It looks dumb and bad, but it looks fun. Yeah, he's just... If you're going to do a line like that, you just... it takes a special kind of actor to sell that kind of dumb.
But the way he says it, of course the wolf has wings. Like, because people in the audience are like, the motherfucking wolf has wings.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It might be a show. I don't know yet, because damn it looks fun.
I think it should be.
Rampage. Why not? Why not make a game about punching a building into a giant movie? New Line could use a hit.
We should...
Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in there. You talk about The Rock hamming it up. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, we've only seen him deliver like 3 lines, and every one of them is just like, how much can I chew this scenery?
I'm going to own this 2 seconds of trailer right now.
That's all he's doing. He's having a ham off with The Rock.
I have 14 words in this entire trailer, and I'm going to own all 14 of them, so much so that you're going to owe me 15 and 16 because you can, and I did.
Oh, boy. I don't know. Rampage looks fun, but stupid. But really fun looking. I don't know. You can take dumb fun.
See,
not everything.
There
has
you
to be
go.
fun.
That's the appeal of Michael Bay doing the Lobo movie. It's going to be dumb fun.
No, it's just going to be dumb. Let's talk numbers. Let's talk sad numbers. Everyone, buy more comics. That's what I've learned. Because January sales figures are in.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, they're not great. Only 2 books in January cracked 100,000 copies. I know we talked about December sales numbers. Things are up from December, which is good. But from this January compared to last January...
They're down overall?
Yeah. Overall, down 15% units sold and down 10% sales. Yeah.
Speaking of things that are down, this is some good news. I'm going to sprinkle some good news. You know that the divorce rate in Maine is at a 10-year low? It's down 30% over the last 10 years. And marriage rates are up. It's not that people aren't getting married. It's people are getting married and staying married.
That's a happy thing. I was talking about a drop in 10% of sales within the last year.
See, I was just going to throw out some statistics. I know numbers too.
Those are bad.
30% decline in the divorce rate is bad.
I don't really care what other people do.
Oh, fair enough.
To be honest,
as long as they're buying comics.
Yeah.
The couple that buys comics together will stay together. Is that the?
I don't care.
You should be your tagline. You should.
If it gets me more money, I guess.
There you go.
And I was talking to someone, they're like, well, why do you think this is? And I don't have a good answer. I think there is a lot of mitigating factors, but I think it's very hard to see what negatively affects the market in the moment. I think it's real easy to take a look at a thing in hindsight, like, oh, this is what was happening at the time. This is what was wrong.
How much of it is it's winter months? It's the winter months. People may not be as active to get out.
But that's why I'm saying the numbers are compared to last January.
I don't know.
There's a lot of good stuff out right now, and there's plenty of mediocre stuff, but there's still some really solid stuff that I don't feel like the sales should be looking like this. I don't know. But top 10 for the month of January, number 10, Old Man Hawkeye, number 1. The writer, it's his first Marvel book. Pretty good. They kind of hooked me at the end. Issue 2 came out this week. I'm still interested in it. Batman and the Signal, number 1, going to be a 3-issue miniseries involving Batman's new partner, who isn't Robin, and finally giving him a thing to do. He's going to be someone from the Bat family who goes out during the day. Fun.
Remember from the news segment I did, was I right in saying that it was going to be some Dial M for Murder callbacks in that?
I'd have to look at it. I don't remember.
You're killing me.
Venom Inc. Omega, number 1, finishing up the Venom Inc. storyline. It's fine. Not a lot to say about that one. Venom usually sells. Number 7, Batman White Knight. Number 4, main writer and artist Sean Gordon Murphy. Sales have stayed consistent on that one. Haven't really dropped off, so that's a positive. Number 6, Avengers 675. Kicking off the No Surrender storyline, introducing a new character. This has personally been good for me. My Avengers sales have more than doubled since the storyline started, so hey, keep on buying the Avengers.
Just kind of...
No, doubled. Not... You did a downward motion. Yes, there you go. That's an upward motion. Number 5, always consistent, Walking Dead, number 175. Number 3 and number 4 are Batman 38 and 39. Wedding Bells Are A-Comin'. Number 2, one of the only 2 books to crack 100,000 copies, Dark Knight's Metal, number 5. 1 issue left to go in that series, and it's been selling like hotcakes. And number 1 selling book, no real shocker, Doomsday Clock, number 3, the Watchmen sequel. It's nice seeing... I mean, Batman always sells consistently, but the fact that both releases have cracked the top 10. But there's also what you see between 38 and 39 is you are seeing the sales slipping a little bit as the series goes on. Clearly not a lot. They're still in the top 5. But there was a little bit of a difference I saw in sales between 38 and 39, which made me raise a slight eyebrow. They're only getting released 2 weeks apart, and there's a pretty big discrepancy between the two. Why?
Not enough downtime in between them?
It's been bi-monthly for 39 issues, or bi-weekly, I don't know. But I guess if you like this stuff, go buy books, because the industry is hurting.
There you go.
As a whole. Sorry to end on the downer. Let's end on the math segment.
Math?
Oh, I had to write down 10%.
Oh.
That was math for me.
What do you mean you had to write down 10%?
I had literally right there, it says 10%.
Oh, 10%, okay.
Physically wrote it down.
I thought I had something in the back of my head that was exciting to talk and share, and it fluttered away out of my cerebellum.
You already had your sports reports.
It kind of whizzled away from my head.
But that is the news for this week. From there, we are going to go in and finish part 4 of our 4-part series of Kevin Smith's DC-a-thon with Batman, the Widening Gyre. Or Gyre. I don't know.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
Is that the opening?
The theme is played, yes.
Oh, okay, the theme is played.
Yeah, that was my
I was still trying to remember what I was trying to say or think right there. I think it was in regards to comic book sales. I totally have just kind of poofed off. Anyway, as we finish up our Kevin Smith DC-a-thon, Kevin Smith does DC, we get more Batman. And this is the one that you said people kind of pissed on.
Yeah, that's actually why people have an issue with it for the most part.
Why?
The pissing.
Oh, the one line about having a bladder spasm and Batman may have peed his pants.
I guess we'll talk about the controversy of this series. What's funny is rereading this, people in general don't seem to like this story. I'm fine with it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was
a couple of
great continuation of what he was creating with that arc. I kind of want to see it come to a conclusion.
Yeah, it's been 9 years.
I might tweet at him. I'm going to tweet at him tonight. I just finished Widening Gyre, and I've read...
Or Gyre.
Whatever.
Who knows?
But I read Cacophony. I read this. You can't leave me hanging like that, man.
So people read this, and it wasn't very well received. There was kind of two major points of contention. One thing that shows that, like, part of why Batman is so smart is he kind of, he writes himself a little diary at the end of every night.
Mm-hmm.
And one of Batman's unknown skills up until this point is he's, an amazing writer. He needs to publish his work because he's such a good writer. And it kind of feels a little bit like M. Night Shyamalan's Lady in the Water of, like, the writer will save us all.
Mm.
It's like you're projecting a little bit too much on yourself and your importance as a writer here. Kevin. And that's not my kind of feelings on it, but that seemed to be a pretty consistent criticism. And then there is a scene where Batman is discussing one of his first outings, going back to Frank Miller's year one with him and David Mazzucchelli, however you pronounce it, doing this whole scene where he blows a wall out and goes to talk to all of, like, the gangsters of Gotham. He's like, you have fed well on this city and blah, blah, blah. It's a really great scene. But Batman's talking about that to a character that we'll get into, and he mentions that he had a bladder spasm, which apparently is a real thing that happens when you get, like, hit with, like, a wave of heat. Like, I guess that's kind of like...
Well, not just a wave, any, like, kind of blunt force trauma to the abdomen can lead to that.
I guess it's the thing that happens with, like, firefighters that's just never really brought up, that, like, whenever, like, a wave of heat hits them, they all piss their pants.
You've never, like, been hit with, like, a wave of heat and you kind of, like, feel like you may have a little trickle come out? You've never had an experience in your life where you're like, I may just pee a little bit?
I guess not off the top of my head that I can think of.
That's because you don't want to admit it.
But, yeah, there was a massive backlash about the, like, Batman pissed himself. Batman don't pee his pants.
I'm sure they'll think the first couple of times he's been out. Why not?
Yeah, so it was, everything that happens in this story, the 6-issue book, and that is what everyone just pinpointed their, like, focus on. Like, this is ridiculous. This story is the worst. And I don't really care. It's, it's fine. I think it's kind of a dumb little moment that the guy he's telling it to, he's like, you peed yourself. I'm like, childish, sir.
Well...
that was more... I don't care. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
But that's also, like, Kevin Smith staple stuff sometimes are the pee and fart jokes.
It's fine. I'm not mad that Batman peed his pants. My reaction is like, there wasn't that much of a payoff for that joke.
No.
That's about it. It's whatever. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Batman peed himself once when he was hit with a blast of heat from an explosion.
Well, we spent a lot of time on bodily function on this show tonight. More than I care to. I feel like there's a scientific name for it, but I'm not going to look it up.
So now that we've discussed...
Because I don't want to have that in my Google search history. What do they call it when you get hit with a blast of heat and pee yourself? What's the medical term?
Bladder spasm.
Now I got to look and see if it really is
just
bladder spasm. Fine,
we've discussed the controversies of this book. Let's move on to the rest of it.
I liked it. It was kind of an interesting story arc. Again, the one thing though and you and I have talked about it a couple times in regards to this is Kevin Smith is a huge Batman guy. He's a huge comic fan, and it's kind of like one of those. What would happen if I got to write a story about my favorite character? He does draw on a lot of different Batman villains. He hits a lot of the rogues gallery in this. Like Baron Blitzkrieg is in this.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, like, no-name characters. They're like, ooh, that's a...
But you also get a look, there's a little Harley in it. There's a little Joker in it. There's Mr. Freeze.
A lot of Poison Ivy.
All of Poison Ivy. But you got Poison Ivy, Catwoman.
The Joker shows up, Deadshot's in it again.
Yeah.
No Maxi Zeus this time, probably for the best.
But there's a decent chunk of the rogue gallery that shows up. But I think the interesting piece of this is throughout all of it. Batman, you got Nightwing and Robin.
Yeah.
Nightwing and Robin. But you also get, we're introduced to Silver St. Cloud.
Not reintroduced.
Reintroduced. Well, I was introduced to her.
Yeah.
Hello, Silver. Hi-ho, Silver. Away. Who apparently has an island.
Yeah, why not? She's rich. She's a socialite.
Well, yeah, she's also the widow of a senator, so...
Yeah, we get her in this, and the character doesn't really do much, per se.
I would disagree.
But what
I would totally disagree that she doesn't do much. She totally draws Bruce out of his comfort zone and gives him a romantic interest that isn't Catwoman.
Well, she's a catalyst for an idea that I like. The idea of stepping away from Batman and having, like, a semblance of a personal life. And
Well, he even mentions that and talks about that
Yeah.
in the middle part of the book.
People always talk about, like, when they say, like, you know, we've heard it a million times of, like, Batman is who he really is and Bruce Wayne is the mask. But you kind of see that not flipped, but you get to see more of a side of what he can be outside of the mask that isn't just, you know, frowny man punching things.
But he, like, seems genuinely happy. And he's got this new character who's come along to help him.
Baphomet.
Who we don't really know who this person is. They kind of come out of nowhere. And
They like themselves an old crossbow and a big old goat mask.
yes. And they are adept crime fighting. And they really help Batman out. And Batman's like, you could do my crime fighting for me during the day while I'm on my fantasy island and with Silver St. Cloud, and I'll take care of the night shift.
When does he sleep? He must sleep on the plane.
He must sleep on the plane. But we also, like, again, Kevin Smith getting to, like, have the toys and play and do what he wants. We go all kinds of places. We go to the Justice League Tower. We go to the Fortress of Solitude. Aquaman shows up.
Yeah. On a narwhal.
That was pretty badass.
Because why not? If you're going to travel by narwhal.
Yeah, exactly. No one's going to, like, you can tailgate whoever you want. You can move them out of the way with a narwhal's tusk.
Yeah, we see Baphomet as someone who
is an equal almost.
Yeah, we see him get progressively better at this whole crime fighting thing, even teaming up with Batman. But the thing that is startling is that he very comfortably takes off his mask very early on into the relationship. It's basically like saying, I love you a week into the relationship for Batman. He's like, this is too soon, I can't deal with this.
But Baphomet also gives him, like, background, like, why is he doing what he's doing? It's because it was his younger brother was killed.
Yeah, by
in a gang war.
A random villain.
Yeah.
Or is he telling the truth?
I don't know. I think he is. It does give motivation because we find out that this character is not who we think he is.
Yeah, but that's kind of why I'm like, is he just, you know, leading him on with the lie of family tragedy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we'll never know, probably.
Supposedly, it's been rumored for years. Like, this is the year it's going to happen. This is the year it's going to happen. It's been going on for 9 years.
Sounds like the Cubs fans trying to win a World Series. But it did eventually happen.
Yeah, because this came out in 2009. And we'll probably say the ending just... Or maybe we won't. I don't know. We probably will.
It's a pretty big cliffhanger spoiler ending.
Yeah, well, that's kind of why it needs to be resolved. Yeah, we won't say it, fine. It all connects in with the other stuff that we've read, and there is kind of a massive, like, the last panel of this book, instead of the P thing, that's what people should be talking about.
Yes.
Also, is kind of a continual problem with Kevin Smith and his comic work. Maybe I'm giving it away. Maybe I'm not. Keeps on doing that, though.
What? Ending on a cliffhanger?
No, doing what happens at the end.
Oh.
Real fan of that.
Did you see the end coming when you read it the first time?
Don't think so.
Did you, like, get to the last panel like, oh, wow.
I even think when it came out, like, it had been announced there was going to be a short hiatus, then it was coming back, so I wasn't that worried at the time. Like, I don't remember if there was, like, it had already been announced in previews, or if it just said, like, yeah, we're just taking, like, you know, 6 months off or 3 months off.
No, I'm talking, like, what was your visceral reaction when you finished the book and you were like, I did not see that coming?
Probably just about that, just like, oh. Or maybe like oh, heck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I wasn't, like, super connected to it, so it wasn't, like, didn't rock my world at the time. It was surprising, certainly, but...
No, surprising. I think that I'm curious to see what he would do with Batman now, given what Batman is going to go through and feel in the wake of this finish to this story.
Well, what's interesting about this, too, is you could end this story with literally no repercussion. Like, you could go all out, because the universe that this story exists in is gone. This is a whole 2 DC universes ago at this point. The universe has rebooted since then a couple times.
So maybe we won't see.
I think if you'd go back, and if you could finish it, you'd have to do it in that vein of that, like,
because you can't retcon anything.
It would feel all wrong if you updated it to the new universe where it is now and you were still continuing the story. I think you would have to kind of follow up, the next moment, which really means you have a story with no bounds, because that universe is ended. You don't have to worry about the fallout from it, which could be interesting. Supposedly, a bit of work has been done on it. The next one's going to be called Bellicosity.
Yes.
If it ever happens. We'll see. He's done other work for DC since then, actually, which has, come out and been published. But it was just unrelated to this. I don't know.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It was different.
I enjoy it too, and I don't think the criticism is founded. I don't like this quite as much as the last one. Having it be 6 issues felt a little long. Kind of, spending more time playing with now we're going to do this, and now we'll do this. And oh boy, we have the time and space versus the last one being 3 issues felt a little tighter.
Yeah, it had time to breathe a little bit.
I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think it deserves the criticism that it gets, but I am relatively annoyed that it doesn't have a proper ending, because this was literally meant to be the halfway point of the story.
Yeah, there's no proper ending. It leaves you wanting more, and how does it end? What's the finish? What's the end game here? Can we also talk about how Batman will, technically dating Silver St. Cloud, still max on Catwoman?
He does that so often with her.
Yeah.
He's always making out with her. He's making all out with her in Hush. He's making out with her in this. And now he's marrying her.
It's about time he put a ring on it. Make an honest woman of Selena Kyle.
Yeah, just keeps on making out with her all the time. That was a fun scene. Deadshot is hunting Catwoman, and it turns out that Catwoman hired Deadshot just so Batman would talk to her.
Clever on her part.
Well, you wouldn't talk to me any other way.
It's fair. Sassy, but fair.
Yeah, I actually like the treatment of Catwoman in this book for the most part.
And you can read this without really... Well, no. I think you do need to read Cacophony to understand what's going on.
Yeah, I don't think if you wanted to...
Especially the ending.
If you just want to do the Batman stuff, that's probably fine. You probably don't need the Green Arrow stuff. But if you want to understand Widening Gyre, it would be confusing without Cacophony.
It would be.
They're not really separate.
But this is definitely... It has a cliffhanger ending that I'd love to see resolved.
Yeah, so would I 9 years later.
Well, better late than never.
Everyone tweet at Kevin Smith. Finish it up.
I will. I'll give him a piece of my mind and then ask him to Patreon us.
So, finish a thing, also give us money instead of us giving you money.
We could take a roundabout credit for if he ever finished it. We inspired him by reviewing his DC stuff.
I doubt it. But, yeah, I think it's worth reading. I like it. It's nice having something that's self-contained, which is, there have been so many different Batman stories out there. It's nice when you can get something that's just a hair smaller. I don't know, that's my recommendation. I say read it.
By the way, Shaun White did win gold.
Oh, good.
I knew you were really worried about that.
I wasn't worried. I kind of assumed. After that first run, it was like, oh, he is head and shoulders doing better than everyone.
Oh, yeah, he crushed it.
No, that other guy crushed it.
Yes.
His spine and legs and butt.
All of his body. I wonder what the score of his final run was. That means we're back to curling, though.
Curling is stupid.
I love curling. Anyway, enough about this.
Yeah, I say read it, and you say...
Read it.
All right, there we go. 2 read it's. I guess from there, we'll move on to our final, before the 100th episode, send in more emails, plug, letters to the editors.
Lot of questions, number 1. Damn few answers.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Make it so.
Trimming down on an email. Broad question, but I think with many possible answers. What are some of your favorite costumes?
My favorite costumes?
Like superhero costumes. Not things you would wear to a costume ball or a toga party.
Or trick-or-treating.
Or that. I don't know why you'd be trick-or-treating in your 30s.
There are weird people out there, dude. There are weird people. I was at the bowling alley. I took a group out to the bowling alley this week. There's this gentleman who would grab the bowling ball, throw it up, catch it, and then bowl it before the pin setter was even done. And he had it timed up just enough that it was clearing as the bar came up. It was almost like it would have been devastating.
That's some risky business.
He bowled 6 games in 30 minutes.
Yeesh.
Like, just whoop, whoop, whoop. So, like I'm saying, there's some weird people out there.
Has nothing to do with the costume.
No, but you said who would trick-or-treat in their 30s.
Was he wearing a cape?
He should have been.
Pointless to this story.
Not all heroes wear capes, okay? I don't know, there's always something I've always enjoyed, like, Shredder, the Shredder costume. Would you call that a costume?
Yeah, he's a man wearing a bunch of knives.
There's something clean about Superman and that look. I've always liked Spider-Man, but not when he had the web gliding ability.
The Ditko stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I like the good, clean Spider-Man costume. Not so much a fan of the blue and yellow X-Men stuff. That was kind of harshing my mellow a little bit on my eyes. I don't know. There's something also about like the original Batman stuff with the big gold logo in the middle on the black.
Well, there's so much.
But it's so
Batman's
impractical
so
because he has to turn his whole upper body to look and see things.
comics, they don't have to deal with physics. Like the cape will always be flowing just right. The cowl will do what you need it to do in the moment. I mean, my immediate reaction would be to say like the classic Superman, and not necessarily like not the original one that had kind of like the black shield. But when you think of like Christopher Reeve's Superman,
Yeah,
like I don't know. There's just something just classic about that look. It kind of says everything that you needed to say.
I like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff. It's clean.
I like the black
crisp.
suit Spider-Man.
That was pretty badass.
Not in the movies, but like in the comic, of just like that sleek black with just like the white spider on it. There's so many bad ones. I'm more fun with like bad costumes, like Daredevil when he had armor. That's terrible. Some of them have grown on me more like as time has gone on. I love the costume design for Thor. Generally, Thor has an interesting design, like the big metal helmet and that chest. I know that like the things on his chest plate are supposed to do something, but just like those circular discs, I think look really cool. And so few Marvel characters have capes. I'm a big fan of the cape.
You know what else is
Practical, but whatever.
Captain America.
Yeah, depending on the era, that costume's been all over the place. But yeah,
Duffman. Duffman's got a good costume.
The Hulk stretchy pants.
Yes. It's fair.
Especially in the old 80s show, they just became capris. When it was just Lou Ferrigno in capris.
Well, to each their own, I suppose.
But yeah, my immediate reaction is just Superman. I love the primary colors. And there was
Spider-Man. There's something clean about Spider-Man.
Well, there's always this thing of, you can look it up, of like, heroes and villains have different color palettes within the color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know my color wheel, so I'm not going to...
Red, yellow, blue.
I'll pretend that I know.
With, I want to say green, purple, and there's another color. That's the secondary color. It's red and yellow. Oh, orange. Sorry. Red and yellow make orange. Yellow and blue make green. Blue and red make purple. There you go. Those are your secondary colors. Boom. Nailed it.
Yeah, well, those are the villains, and traditionally the heroes are on the other side.
I guess that would make sense. The green, purple, and orange for villains, and red, yellow, and blue for...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess those are my go-to is just Superman. That's probably my all-time favorite, and maybe that's just I'm a little hyped up right now that like they're bringing back that classic look.
Yeah.
So the kind of suit is kind of front and center in my brain right now. Like they're bringing back the underwear on the outside. It's really good for a color break.
Thank you.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Compared to just blue. No, your little red belt isn't doing it for me.
Wow.
Just put your pants back on.
Fair. Reasonable.
That's all I want. Some of the more ridiculous ones. Like, I think... I'll go the other way. Because I know I said, like, Daredevil's armor costume. Anyone who has a boob window has a silly costume.
Yeah, it's impractical.
My all-time favorite one is... there's a while in the Fantastic Four where, Sue Richards is evil. We're not going to get into it. But on, like, they have the costume, and you normally would have, like, the 4 kind of in the middle of your chest. But the 4 is just...
A boob. You showed me this.
Just
picture,
a 4.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
a cutout, yeah.
It's a boob window in the shape of the number 4. And that is possibly the stupidest costume design of all time.
Quite frankly, the most impractical.
How do you know I'm evil? You can see my boobs in the shape of a 4.
You evil, vile temptress.
So stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the question, but I just had to get to the weird 4 boob window.
Weird, long, roundabout way of getting there.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, time to plug?
Sure.
Or do we have more questions to answer?
No, that's for next week.
Okay, yes. It's a big week at the store.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing a sale. 30% off through
Because
Saturday.
you're 30 years old.
Yeah, last year I did 29.
Wow.
The sale that gets a little better every
So people
year.
are like, someday when Zach is 50, this is going to be the best sale ever.
Ew, it's a long time from now.
20 years, approximately.
Yeah. I'd like to hope in 20 years that it would be just a very successful business where I don't have to worry about things that much.
But you can still have kick-ass sales.
Yeah. I couldn't keep this up for another 20 years.
Podcasting with me?
Oh, no. It's just more like the store would have to be at a different level than it is right now.
Yeah, probably. Baby steps, Zach.
Yeah, well, that's
Baby
the idea.
steps.
I'm so glad that I'm growing a business, and a business that's failing.
Wow. Your business isn't failing. It's the medium that you're...
Yeah, the industry. Buy more books, people.
There you go.
10% drop is not a good drop.
But we'll give you 30% off.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's happening. Next week, Big 100. If you could write us an email, a tweet, an in-person, a Facebook, whatever you
We're
want.
going to be centenarians.
Yes, not you. Not for another 2 episodes.
Ah!
But yeah, the regular stuff, if you want to get the show a whole day early, patreon.com/editorsnotecomics. Throw in minimum of $1 a month. you'll get all that noise.
You can be Duke of the podcast, or you can be like, was it
Forget what
Champion of the podcast or something like that?
What's
Where you
one of the ones do?
Yeah, the middle level is Duke of the podcast.
Sure.
The top level, though, you get you to record something on someone's, like, a specialized, personalized recording from you.
I don't remember what it was.
No wonder nobody's going after that one.
I
I don't want this surly 30-year-old bastard on my voicemail.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and, the website. You can mostly get to everything through the website, editorsnotecomics.com.
The physical location of 210 Water Street in Hollowell.
Mm.
Above water.
Yeah. I can even park in my space again.
Really?
Yeah, they cleaned it out.
Are you afraid to park down there on the off chance that something like the ice dam because it's still, the water is relatively high.
I'm not really worried right now.
It is relatively cold out. It's not really Hollowell that's to worry anymore. It's like going to be Gardner that gets wiped off the face of the earth when that ice dam lets go.
Yeah, they brought a backhoe and they cleaned it all out.
All the ice, yeah, I saw that.
And you're on Twitter.
At Junior Rich.
Yeah, we'll be back next week to celebrate good times. Come on.
100, the Black Panther.
A thing.
If
you saw my Twitter at all, you probably know what it is. And then
we can pump it now. It'll be on the show next week.
I'll bleep that.
Why not? Why
I don't
not
know,
promote it now?
Because it's funnier. Yeah, we got a thing. It should be a surprise.
Yeah, but we want to drive listenership up.
Yeah, whatever. We'll get there.
On the show next week.
So many bleeps.
That's going to be great, though. People are like, who's on the show next week?
All right, we'll see you in a week.
With
Damn it, man.